Decision from President Biden announcing plans to pardon thousands of Americans convicted of simple possession of marijuana. Thanks for joining us. I'm Gerald Owens.
And I'm Lena Tillett. This affects people convicted of the crime under federal law. All new tonight, our Aaron Thomas spoke with advocates and opponents about possible impacts here in North Carolina. Aaron?
Yeah, Lena, it is worth pointing out that a judge in court may not be able to impose a light sentence because in our state, we use the mandatory minimum sentencing when it comes to drug charges. As for today's news out of Washington, you have advocates who say this may signal a fundamental change in how we view marijuana, but a local sheriff I spoke with says that he's firmly against it. In what appears to be the first step towards decriminalizing marijuana, President Biden pardoned thousands of people convicted of marijuana possession on the federal level. His administration set to start the process of rescheduling the substance, taking it out of the same category of drugs like heroin.
This is something that advocates have been pleading with the Biden administration to do for, since he came into office.
Daniel Bowes with ACLU of North Carolina praising the president's move. He says it provides much needed relief to the 6,500 U.S. citizens convicted from years 1992 to 2021 and faced hardships like finding a job or renting a home.
These individuals are on potentially supervised probation, unsupervised probation, or they've, had this conviction long ago. And so all those individuals would still be facing incredible barriers to, basic employment.
As it stands, no one is in federal prison for simple possession of the substance.
You need to keep a law against it, and we need to do everything we can to protect our kids.
Nash County Sheriff Keith Stone sharing a concern about the new guidance from Washington. He foresees recreational marijuana use becoming legal. As a result, he says public health and safety of the community would take a hit.
I think that's what the end game is more of the thought process of legalizing marijuana. I'm telling the people of North Carolina that's a bad idea.
And the president also encouraged governors to follow his lead in pardoning these simple marijuana possession charges. My colleague Chris Lovingood joins us now with what action we could likely see here in the state of North Carolina. Chris?
Well, Aaron, I'll tell you what, the ball is in Governor Cooper's court. And at the state level, we have heard from State Attorney General Josh Stein, who agreed with President Biden in a statement. He said in part, quote, "Let's act and let's get it right." That means decriminalizing adult use, expunging past convictions for simple possession, and including strong protection for kids. But it's unknown if governors, including Roy Cooper, will answer President Biden's call to follow suit at the state level. In fact, WRAL State House reporter Travis Fain reached out to the governor's office. Now, we haven't heard back from his office or seen any announcements online. I asked Travis what was the likelihood Cooper would pardon people convicted of state marijuana offenses. Here's his take.
He has not exercised his pardon and clemency powers very often. He's a former attorney general. He was on the law enforcement side earlier in his career, and he's faced some criticisms from, the progressive left on how infrequently he has pardoned folks.
Now, here's the deal. President Biden's announcement is actually timely with Governor Cooper's schedule tomorrow. Cooper is scheduled to speak at the Task Force for Racial Equity in Criminal Justice, a task force that he established. Now, it should be noted the state DOJ reports black North Carolinians are more likely than whites to be charged and convicted for possession of marijuana. 61% of people convicted on misdemeanor marijuana charges in 2019 were non-white. And we'll be watching to hear if the governor addresses Biden's announcements.
All right, Chris and Aaron reporting live for us tonight. Thanks so much.